Super, we're live. Hey Sam, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Yay, so happy. Very glad to have you on. I've been, following like what you've done over the last year. I remember like the first piece on Super Rare, so I'm very excited, very excited for this. And thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, it's really been a journey. Like, I think this piece, I had a moment earlier this week where I remember going to the like Gen Z exhibition at the Super Rare Museum in DCL, like in October, and
Yeah,
meeting so many awesome artists like Fuwo and Jonathan Wolf and Femzor and like Merkpin and all of these great artists. And it was like right when I started on Rarible, and it was just super inspiring. So seeing my piece also in DCL, like at the same museum, is really kind of just a concrete moment in time where it's like, damn, like I did this too. Like this is so cool. And it's awesome to see where like both of us have come, because I know like you also
yeah,
started kind of just doing stuff on Twitter about like pieces on Rarible, and like I know I reached
yeah.
out to you about that a few times, almost a year ago as well. Like it's the space has changed so much, and it's really cool to see like what opportunities have opened up for the people who've like maintained involved.
Yeah, absolutely. I was when I reached out, actually, now you reminded me on DMs like a week ago, I think. I was like, oh my God, this message, the one on top was like,
Yeah.
yeah, and it was like, oh my, it's like it feels like 10 years have gone by, but actually it's like, 7 or 8 months, which is
I
incredible.
know.
So it's super fun to really like see, all of the people that have kind of like, built the space and been in the space to basically like, go and do and flourish. It's amazing. Like it's like a huge family. I don't know. It feels like that.
Yeah, I just like caught up with Robinus a little bit last night, and he was like, everybody's on their own trajectory, and like even though the market goes
Yeah.
up and down, like everybody's trajectory still goes, forward. It's unstoppable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. And like I think Robness has probably like seen it all at this point, like from
Yeah.
from a couple of
Definitely.
years. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's funny. Actually on this, I'd love to kind of like go back a little bit in time just now that we're talking and actually talk about like how you discovered like crypto art and how it all started for you.
Yeah, to keep it like kind of short and sweet, because I feel like I've told this story and it can go like, you can zoom in and get deep, like as deep as you want about it. But basically, like I started being creative and like getting into graphic design like right before I got into high school, because I saw that there was like a computer graphics class, and I was like, that's cool. Like, I want to do something like that. And then I ended up going to art school for graphic design. And like during my freshman year, I ended up buying some Bitcoin and like Ethereum, and kind of, figuring out what crypto was. And I was like really on board with it, just like in terms of ethos and like what it meant. And I thought it was really, really cool. So I was also around for like that big spike in 2017 when it hit like 20K and then all the way back down. Like I was there for the whole ride. And then I ended up actually just selling it all when I graduated, and just kind of like cashing out. And I was able to start my own freelance practice, and I moved here to Amsterdam. And I was like, okay, that whole crypto thing was fun, but like, and it enabled me to like not have to worry about getting a full-time job for a couple months, like right out of college. And I didn't, I didn't think I was going to get back into it. I had not paid any attention to it like all of 2020. And then like freelancing was really tough because of COVID. And I saw a few people like Etienne Krause and Ferocious, and
Yeah.
some people I had already known about before they got into NFTs. Uh, they started, making a good livable amount of money, just like even, $1,000 or $2,000, like not these crazy, crazy amounts that people are seeing now. I was like, well, freelancing isn't really working. And I actually already started thinking about going more into fine art already, and like applying to some galleries here. And I had some paintings that I had started on, and then instead of submitting them to galleries, I just kind of finished them and made them into NFTs, and started minting on Rarible around like September, so about 9 months after I graduated. and I was like pretty well received, and I had a lot of really fun projects that I just did like to explore, to figure things out, and anything from like projection mapping to painting to like 3D animation. I was freelancing as a motion designer, so that requires a lot of different skills like audio engineering and working in After Effects and working in 3D and Illustrator and like really covering all your bases. So I was really used to doing a bunch of different things at once, and so I kind of just threw as many different projects at the wall while minting on Rarible and OpenSea. And Halloween was coming around, and I had been doing drag just kind of as a hobby for about like 3.5 years at that point. And I was like, well, it's Halloween, and like might as well try that too, So I got a green screen for a project I had done before, and I was like, I'm just gonna do drag. I have this like really crazy retro outfit that like my mom gave me, and I'm just gonna see what happens. And like that sold out really, really quickly. And even to this day, it's one of my like most successful projects. Actually, it kind of goes under the radar because it was a really long time ago, but I just like kind of took that as a sign and never really stopped there. I was like, okay, how can I just take all of these little successes that I've kind of observed from the last 2 months and combine them into as much as I can. And then I was able to get onto Super Rare, and I took that opportunity to like really, really, really push myself and like see what the limits are. And that's kind of the attitude that I still have now. So it's been a really crazy journey.
I remember, okay, so two things that I'm thinking about. One is that it's really, I think it's like really interesting when we have, like, I have these conversations that a lot of artists like talk about like Rarible as being like the kind of like the lead way in. And I think like, it really was like I remember, especially last year around like November, like October, November, like Rarible was like such a starting point for like a lot of artists in the space. And I feel like it kind of like gets, like mixed, there's like mixed messages and stuff, but actually like it is, an open platform that gave like the kickstart for so many. And I feel like it has, it has such an important like, place in the space for really doing that, and like embracing
Absolutely.
experimentation, and just kind of like giving that window to anybody to just try it out. And then obviously get into like Super Rare and like all of the other platforms. So that's yeah, that's awesome. And another thing that I actually remembered is your first minted piece on Super Rare. I just have like a memory of the time when you kind of like you posted on Twitter, and I was like, wow, like this is a performance. Like it's not only about art, like it's a whole, 360 performance. And I really want to share that because I think it's like super awesome. Let me just share my screen.
Yeah, I mean, that was such a crazy period because I I had applied to Super Rare back in like June. I didn't know what it was. I had just kind of seen it and threw an application in, and got denied pretty quickly. So then when I applied again in September, I was like, well, I don't want to wait around to figure out if I can get in or not. So I just started minting on Rarible and stuff. And then I never heard back from that application, which I think is probably a good thing. I don't think they ever saw it, because by like end of October, I actually got in contact with uh, Zach and some of the people at Super Rare officially. And oh, hello. Oh, I'm just gonna keep talking. But oops, I think she got dropped from the call. But yeah, basically, I was kind of offered a test project, and that's what I did for the for my first project. And I really wanted to prove to everybody that I could do some like really crazy freak shit. But I'm gonna wait to see if she can get back on this call, and then we'll figure it out. Oh no, her PC just crashed. Just reaching out through Twitter DMs to make sure everything is going okay. This is so unfortunate. Hello. Oh, I can't hear you. No. So weird. You're actually muted in Streamlabs now. No. Yeah, so weird. I'm sorry. Oh, there you go. I can hear you now.
You can hear me?
Yes. Success.
Okay, it's cool. I'm so sorry about this. My laptop like literally crashed on me, and I don't know why. So I had to log in from another one, which has never happened. So I'm very sorry about this. But let's go back to what we were saying.
Yeah. No,
About,
it's totally okay.
about your piece on Super Rare, which is called The Event. So I'm going to share my screen now. But yeah, I'd love to kind of like chat about that, because I remember like when I saw it, it was like such a like a performance, and I was like, wow, like this is amazing.
Yeah, so I was basically like, I don't know where I left off, but I was able to get directly in contact with some of the staff members at Super Rare, because at the time, like, they were all still pretty active on Twitter, and there weren't so many people. I mean, there were still a lot of people like constantly spamming them, but it wasn't like insanity now. So we ended up becoming like mutuals and just kind of DMing back and forth. And they were like, "Hey, if you send us, a project, we'll take that as kind of like a personal application." And so I just took a leap of faith and was like, "All right, well, I gotta go like fucking crazy on this, because like this is like my one chance to really, really like showcase what I can do and what I can bring to their platform." So yeah, that's kind of what what started all this, and I'm so glad that it was received positively and like really set a precedent for the caliber of work that I'll be putting out. And it's definitely like really, really, really weird. And my intention was to make it as like weird as possible, knowing that if it were a success, like it would be minted in the context of like Super Rare, which is known as this like super highbrow fine art. Everything on there is like super chic. And I think, if this were maybe minted on Rarible, it wouldn't have the same effect as if it were minted on Super Rare. So, and I think that's the case with a lot of the work that I put on Super Rare. I don't put everything on Super Rare, but most of the projects that I focus on now are like really big one-of-ones that take a couple weeks to produce. And I don't know, I just like that workflow, and I like the context of the environment that's been curated for Super Rare.
I'd love to like understand how you actually went about like creating this, because it has so many like different things. So yeah, like can you share a little bit about how it started? Like, like there's like the TVs, like obviously, I'm a big fan of like retro TVs. So
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, my initial like idea was to style and like develop these sort of three looks that characterized the breadth of my style. Because I like right now I'll show like I have on a corset, and like it's a pretty androgynous but like still out there sort of non-binary style, which is like what I believe is presented with this like harness and the grills, and like I guess it's more pedestrian in a way. It's wearable, like no makeup. And then kind of on the other side of things is like full drag, like super femme, contacts, lashes, glued down eyebrows, like, hair pieces, jewelry, everything. But also being non-binary, I don't always love to like present super duper duper femme all the time, even if I'm doing makeup, which is like super prevalent in my latest AR piece. Like everything is full makeup, but it's like completely abstract. There's no presentation of gender. And so I also wanted to showcase that with the third look from the event, which is like the crazy blobby, like rectangle eyebrow type, kind of more graphic contemporary makeup. And that was my initial idea.
And the choice of the colors, so like the red and the black and the white, which are, I guess, like the prevalent colors, is that how's that, like, how come?
Well, it kind of just came from what I was working with. Like, I just sort of, as I was developing these looks, like, I thought I already had the white contacts from the Halloween drag I did, and then I was making this like rhinestone headpiece, and I wasn't exactly sure how I wanted to wear it because I didn't want to show my hair, and I didn't really have a good wig that I thought would fit. And so I thought like maybe wearing like a headscarf, but I wanted it to stay pretty graphic. And so I just thought like, okay, just do like a black headscarf. And then the pants I wear for like the more androgynous look here are a pair of pants that I had already made that just like fit this aesthetic of sort of like glam punk freakiness. And yeah, I don't know. I just love red. Like I think red looks good on me, and it just works like super graphically. Like one of my biggest inspirations is like a Lazitsky, who's a Russian suprematist who pretty much only used like gray tones and like red. So also Comme des Garçons was a big inspiration for this, and they also are, black, white, and red. So it kind of just like fit with what some of the pieces that I was making, some of the pieces I already had that I made myself, and my existing aesthetic and the references I was choosing. And I was kind of referencing like the 70s punk movement along with Comme des Garçons and like lots of other things. And it just, all of these references kept bringing back like black and red and white. So yeah, I kind of just, picked what worked together and threw it all in, like, just to see what would happen.
That's amazing. And actually, I think like one of the things that really I remember kind of like struck me when I saw this was that, especially at the time, like it wasn't that common for people to actually show their face and like represent themselves within even just like the community. Like pretty much everybody was like anon, like, you didn't really have like a piece behind the artists or, the profiles that were going around. So this was like quite a big statement in a way, like actually you like visually representing yourself and, becoming the work of art. So yeah, I feel like that was like, such an important like moment as well within the space, and maybe like kind of like changed a little bit like that. I don't know if it was like, kind of like scareness or, yeah.
I think it definitely did, especially in like my future works to follow. And an inspiration for me in a way to like present myself as like a human being with a personality was Fiwo. Fiwo was making these sort of short little Twitter clips, and he still is. But like, when I just started doing it too, because I was like, oh, I do a lot of cool stuff. Like I have my own studio space, which was, not very common for a lot of the people. And like, I just thought it'd be fun to share what I was doing, because pretty quickly I started doing NFTs full time, like right away, because I was already freelancing. So being able to showcase what it was like to do it full time, I think was exciting for me and also appealing to a lot of people. And being in front of a camera back in, September, November was really what got me noticed by a lot of people, because people were seeing my personality, and it wasn't just like me replying to a bunch of people. I was just kind of like doing weird shit. I'm sure you experienced the same thing, because you were also one of the only people making, videos, and it was much easier to stand out back then. Or maybe not like easier, but it was easier to identify what you could do to stand out. Like it was much more like, oh, no one is doing this very clearly, like obvious thing, so I might as well do it. So, and seeing all of the content that's being made now for drops like Ferocious's thing at auction at Christie's is even more inspiring to me. And like one of my big inspirations is like Corey Van Loo. he does so much amazing work to like promote his collections and his paintings and like create these sort of universes behind each piece. And like stuff like that, I think is still pretty uncommon, and I wish I would see it more. And I've tried to do that with all of my pieces, but it's kind of difficult because it's something you have to think about before you really even start the project.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also, you know, like from some of the kind of the conversations that I've had, like it also is not in everyone's like personality as well to kind of like put your face out there and like almost, you know, do the promotion for you. Like I think when I was chatting with Sarah Zucker, like she was talking about how like artists are kind of like almost like babied into, you know, like the gallery will do this for you or the curator will do this for you. So you're not really used to like kind of talking about it yourself, right? So this is like this movement, I guess, also like brings in exactly this piece that you were saying now. Like actually, I can talk about it. You know, I can like represent myself and my artwork.
Yeah, I totally like agree with, you know, most of what Sarah has to say about NFTs. Like she's a huge role model and really like a genius when it comes to her art and her place within the NFT world. But yeah, I mean, even at my time in school, they would be teaching us how to critique things and how to talk about art, and people were always so resistant to the idea. But I've always been really excited to be like, look, these are all the things that I put into this project. I want you to see it. Like I just spent a month producing this piece. I want to talk about it. And like, especially with the event, like, and you know, all of the pieces to follow, there are so many references that I use and I want to share with people, and like the process, it's so in depth. Like I made all of the costumes for pretty much all of my projects. I make all of the wigs. Like I love to document it. I love to share it. And for some of the projects where I haven't done it and I got caught up in just like the process of making, I get a little bit sad when I look back through my camera roll and I'm like, wait, it feels like I was just in like a bender, an art bender, and I didn't capture any of this moment, and now I've kind of lost it forever. And I only have this piece to show for it. So like for this most recent piece, this AR, the gallery, I've been really, really consistent with trying to document like every process. I took time lapses of all the paintings I did, all the makeup looks I did. I took lots of photographs. I made a wig specifically for the promo video and even made like a little talk back about the wig and like the references for the wig and stuff. And I'm really glad, like I have a Google Drive folder now of all of these kind of moments in time where I'm like, this is so cool to look back on and like see my process. And like from 3 weeks ago, I can see like what I was thinking and how I was able to develop this. And, you know, I don't know, I just love being able to look back and like, I hope one day to have a solid record enough to like make some sort of documentary or some sort of I don't know, like present what I've captured. Like
yeah, that's awesome. And actually, I think it's I think like even so interesting, I think, to like know the story behind like all of the pieces. Like that gives so much value, not in like monetary terms, but just like actually like connecting with like what you are creating and with the creator, and for even, you know, like collectors or like the people that are, you know, around you to like understand what you're about. Like I think it's such a that this storytelling piece is so powerful. I mean, you do that super well. But I'd love to like chat about this specifically because I know it's your newest piece. I think you minted it today.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about this, and yeah, just let's deep dive into this.
Yeah, I have one more thing I want to mention about like why I also love to document it is because my work, including this piece, is like so multifaceted and I do so many different things to put into a project. It's like kind of absurd to assume that everybody's going to understand how it was made or like what went into it. So, you know, for a project, if I'm sewing for a project or if I'm doing drag for a project, like, I don't know, people maybe have a hard time like seeing past or seeing all the effort that goes into these projects. So I think it's important to also like showcase the behind the scenes so people can see like, oh shit, like this took a lot of effort. That's why it took a month. But yeah, so with this project,
but also because sorry to interrupt you, but you put like it's not only like it's not only like an art piece, like there's so much into it, you know, like you mentioned before, like you do the costumes, you do the makeup, you know, you film it, like there's so much that I feel like there's so many pieces. Like I think I told you before when we were chatting, it's like it's not even about like just an art piece, which in itself it's amazing, but it's actually like a performance about the art as well. So yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so with this project, I had kind of like, you know, taken some time off because I was moving and traveling, and also the market had just like really, really slowed down through May, which was, you know, kind of good timing. So I was coming back in, you know, at the end of May, and I was just kind of seeing what's available, and I knew that Super Rare had an interactive 3D, you know, file format that you could mint, which is what you're looking at now. And I was like, well, I want to read about it. Like I asked Lewis at the Super Rare staff, like, where can I find more info? Like, this seems really cool. Because in my last project, which was just acquired by MOCA, I had really like refined how to scan in my drag and make it digital. And so I was like, okay, well, you know, maybe I can make that into something with this file format or whatever. And I just, you know, spent about a week messing with it, messing in AR, reformatting some old pre-existing 3D models that I had made in AR, and like really, you know, just learning how it operates. And then I just spent some time then developing like, okay, you know, I know how this works. I can make this project. Like, what is this project going to be like? How am I going to interpret this? And I thought I've kind of one of the main ideas I had was presenting it in a gallery within AR and kind of creating a whole experience, and not just having like, oh, a head floating in your room, but like really having a space, you know, designing a space within AR, because in AR and VR, like there's no limits, like you can do that. So figuring out like what I wanted to display and all of that was, you know, pretty self-explanatory, because I had just done the 3D drag for my previous project, and I wanted to kind of play into this idea of a gallery and a studio exhibition by doing a more graphic and like paint based design for makeup. I have this style of illustration that I've been doing for a really long time, even since like before NFTs, and I've done it as like paintings, drawings, screen prints, you know, street art, murals, like all kinds of things. And so I thought it would be cool to adapt it to my face, and then also include paintings of the designs on canvases as well, which I think if you scroll down in this article, there's an image of the paintings as well. Just to show the like different, yeah, so it's in that tweet here. Just to show like all the different ways in which you can interpret your own art and like help other people discover it. And this piece was just like a really big, like kind of playground of creativity and experimentation, and pushing the limits to see what's possible. I kind of just assumed everything would work out, kind of worked around what didn't, and like, had fun with it. Yeah, I mean, it was really a blast, and I'm so happy that it's turned out in the way that it did.
So there's so many like pieces to this piece, which I feel we have to like kind of get them in different bits. So I think probably like the first one is it's an AR experience, right?
Yes.
There's an AR piece to that. Do you want to like how would that work, and you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah. So actually, like weirdly, like perfect timing wise. Like as I was kind of playing around in those first couple days, this app called Scavenger, spelled with an AR at the end instead of an ER, just like sent me a DM saying like, hey, we're trying to get more artists using this app, and like we'd love to just have a Zoom call to see, to talk about if you want to put your work in AR or like, whatever, just like introduce ourselves and see what artists are looking for, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like I'll see what's up, maybe it's interesting, maybe it's not, but I'd love to help out. And because at the time, all of my work was video and I wasn't really like planning on doing anything super AR, but we just like had a really great discussion and like it stayed on my mind. So as I was, doing more experiments and just like playing with different ideas, like that really, really stuck with me. And so I just lost my train of thought. Oh, the AR experience. Yeah. And it also, the reason it stuck with me was because I was like, how can I share an AR experience? Like it'd be really hard to market that. It'd be really hard to like post that on Twitter and like put that around. Like how the fuck am I going to do that? But they have like, they can create links for you to share on social media. And like, then you can create a QR code to that link. And it was really, really simple to put together. And they even have features where you can like lock it based off of your location. So you can only open it in certain areas, or you can add music. And so it just added a lot more like functionality to AR that I thought was like maybe missing just like natively through the AR lens of like Super Rare or, iOS devices. And that's not any hate on like Super Rare or whatever. It's just like the file format itself, you can't geo-lock the file format, but by working with an app, it then adds all these extra things, which is what you're seeing in this video. You can see like I just added the music. I didn't do anything else, but I love to have music as a part of my pieces, so that was like really fun to be able to add into this one again. And then also kind of discovering that it would work in Decentraland, and I could place it in Decentraland. I reached out to the Super Rare team and asked if I could co-opt their parcel with their museum, and I kept them updated with how I was developing the project and like to see if it would work, and I sent them some of my experiments, and ideas just kept coming as I was making it, and I kept like adding more and more to the project.
That's amazing. And so it's in Decentraland as well.
Yes, it's right in front of the Super Rare Museum.
Wow, that's awesome. That's super cool. And you're also actually partnering up with Nifty Pride Foundation, right, on this?
Yes. So the event in Decentraland is a part of this like whole curated weekend with Nifty Pride, where they have like tons of different events, I think mostly in crypto voxels. And I reached out to them with this project as well, being like, this is really like crazy. I don't know if you guys would be down to throw this in and like give me a time slot. And I didn't even have any like confirmation if it could be in Decentraland. I was like, but I could, like, so let's just plan and see what happens. So luckily in terms of that, like everything worked out. And so this is with Nifty Pride, and they have sort of patroned this charity for the Trans Emergency Fund, which is based in Massachusetts. So 25% of this sale will be going to that charity through Nifty Pride, and like they've done a lot of amazing things this weekend coming up. And definitely check out their Twitter. I'll be in their Discord on as a part of the event in DCL, which will be tomorrow at noon Eastern Standard Time. So that's like, I think 6 p.m. in Amsterdam and 9 a.m. in California, just as like other time zone references. But check out their Discord and check out their Twitter. They have a ton of other stuff. Maybe you guys have seen some like buzz about the Pride Gallery in New York City. They're also doing some stuff in collaboration with Nifty Pride. So they've really done a great job this year. And I remember joining the space like right after Pride season last year. So it was really like nice to be able to participate and add to the scene this year and see how it's grown.
Actually, we have somebody who's watching who says that he's actually seen it in DCL, so that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm like really excited about it, and I wonder if any, whoever ends up collecting it, if they end up putting it in DCL or something. Like I'm curious, because that would be really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe we can actually link the Decentraland link and like all of the Discord and everything like underneath this live as well afterwards, so that people can just in and have a look. Awesome. And this piece is currently it's up on Super Rare, right? It's minted.
Yes, it is minted.
Super cool. So there's going to be tomorrow in Decentraland, and the piece is currently up on Super Rare. That's amazing. It's a good way to end the Pride Month as well. Like it fits. Super well with the celebrations too. And I guess something that maybe we can jump on and talk about is obviously, like, I know your last piece, so before this one, I'm just going to go into it. It was collected by Colburn in the museum. And yes, this one here, so Bound to Fall in Love. Yeah, I'd love to like know a little bit about how that like relationship kind of like started. Like, how did you meet Colburn? Like, what is your thoughts around the museum and what they're doing?
I love everything that they're doing. Like every time I talk with Colburn, we always are like on the exact same wavelength and like kiki about all the drama and like all the people that we think are doing like good work and the people who are doing less good work. But like
gossips.
I'm always like, yeah. I don't know. We've just kind of like been friends for a while, and like, especially with the first piece I put on Super Rare and like pretty much every piece I put out after that, everybody always DMs me like, oh, like I think MOCA would love this. Like you should DM Colburn or you should DM them, like reach out, blah, blah, blah. Like every single time I put out a piece. So it's like really, I'm glad that I finally like have a solid peace of mind with the museum, and I'm glad that they sort of like allowed my work to mature to the level that it is. So it's not maybe like a piece that was so early. I'm like, ooh, like I don't regret any of my pieces on Super Rare, but like my work has definitely like improved a lot. So I'm glad that it's like a piece I think will stand the test of time for the next couple of years. And I don't know, like it's very validating and exciting to see, and like it's just awesome. I love it. I love having a connection with people who I believe will be leading the NFT space and also leading it in a good direction. And like our ethos are very, in line with each other. And I'm just glad that also like the other person who bid on this piece was Carlos Mercier, I think, or Mercial. And another artist who I'm like all in on, like super supportive of, and he's been super supportive of me. And like, again, like in terms of ethos and like artist message, we totally align. So I'm glad that like my work is reaching the same people that I like would like it to. And I really try to avoid like the hype culture and people trying to flip my work or invest in it or whatever. Like, I think that's really whack. So I'm glad that the people who are investing and interested in my pieces are the ones that I'm willing to let my pieces go to. So it's really nice to have that connection, and I hope it will continue.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you'd probably touched on like something that is actually very, very native to the space, which is like artists kind of supporting other artists and actually collecting from others. So I think it's something that, especially like in the first, or not the first, but like, kind of last year, we would see that a lot. We still see it 100%. But definitely like it's kind of like what gave what really like built up the space. Like it was essentially like artists just collecting from other artists, other than the collectors that have always like been there, like Colburn. I know the event is in Matrix collection, who's another like kind of really big collector in the space and one who has always like really valued, arts and artists. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Again, another great collector who I'm very happy to let a piece go to, and he was a supporter of mine even back on Rarible. So he has one of my pieces from Rarible, and I'm just really happy to have that like community of people who are interested in me and my work as an artist, and like not necessarily thinking like, oh, in a year I'm going to resell this for a shit ton of money or whatever. Which I mean may be the case, but that's not their main concern. And like people like Sarah Zucker and Matt Kane and Carlos have been all like super on board with all the things I do, and I'm like, it makes me so much more comfortable to express myself in this like kind of Wild West area when such notable figures are standing behind me. And like Matrix found my work through Sarah, because Sarah was a very very early supporter of mine, hit me with the retweet, and immediately what was picked up by Matrix. So like that artist supporting artist thing is like huge. And Fuwo has a piece of mine, Kate the Cursed has a piece of mine, Giselle has a piece of mine, like all amazing artists that I'm like so happy to be in their community. Like I think that's huge.
Absolutely. So I guess kind of to maybe to end things, I'd love to, well, first of all, like recap on what's happening tomorrow with the gallery, and also some of it, like your last thoughts and maybe anything that you're working on or you would like to see like more in the space, and any of your kind of future endeavors would be cool to know.
I don't know what I'm working on next. I have a few like loose ideas, and I'm probably just gonna keep experimenting with those until something sticks, or I'm able to kind of like duct tape and glue together enough ideas to make it like a cohesive project. Maybe something for Fashion Week, but that's in like September, so who knows?
That'd be cool.
That would be really cool. But as of what's happening tomorrow, we are having just like a sort of release event in DCL outside the Super Rare Museum, and I will be hanging out in the Nifty Pride Discord voice channel, so you can like ask me any other further questions about this, or just come say hi at 6 p.m. my time, which is 12 p.m. in Eastern Standard Time. And I think, and then obviously, 25% of this is going to charity. Links to the Discord and the DCL are underneath my pinned tweet in that thread, which I will also then send to you, and you can put in the replies to this.
For sure.
And I mean, I'm just really actually excited with where the NFT space is going right now. Like, it being kind of slow has deterred a lot of the hype away and allowed for the artists who have been in the space for a while and are really hoping to, develop their work and develop within the NFT space to like mature the market. Projects like this, Carlos just put out a project yesterday as well. There's all these different auctions going on with like Christie's and Sotheby's, and Burnham, I think, is the other one that's going on right now with Super Rare, and like artists, and they're all really focusing around these like OG artists that are really true to the space, and kind of subverting this hype drop mentality that websites like Nifty Gateway have kind of like corroded the community with. And I'm really happy to see that, though. Like, it's kind of like coming back. I'm having a really good time in this space right now, and like I hope it just kind of maintains. But like, it's crypto, so who fucking knows? It never stays the same for more than a week. But I think like people are like I said before, people are on their trajectory, and it's unstoppable. People are going to keep doing amazing things. Amazing artists are going to keep getting recognized, and it's really, really exciting to be a part of it.
Absolutely. I think I couldn't agree more. I 100% think there's so much that is happening now that, as you said, like the market is quieted down a little bit. And It gives space and time for everybody to breathe and really focus on like actually like
Mm-hmm.
the side, and let kind of all of that noise kind of like fade away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Focus on anything that anyone is building, whether it's tech, whether it's art, whether it's projects. And so it's awesome to see. But yeah, who knows?
Yeah, you can't predict anything with NFTs or crypto or whatever. Like, it's impossible.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, in the meantime, I will drop the link for Decentraland and the Discord in the post here below. So anybody who wants to have a look and drop into the event tomorrow can do so. And I know there's actually like an editorial as well. So I'm gonna post that.
Yes.
That Super Rare has done, which I think has a QR code as well for the AR, which I think is cool. Actually test it out.
And send me pictures if you do open it in AR. I've loved seeing people, like somebody sent me a picture of them with their son at the beach inside this gallery, and like,
oh no
it's
way,
so cool. Yeah, and like I'm asking some of my friends in New York to send it because I want to see it opened in like Times Square. Like, send me pictures if you open the AR. I want to see how far it can reach.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You should post like all of these in like a thread on Twitter. Exactly. Super cool.
Yeah, I definitely will.
Super. Thank you so much, Sam. It was so nice to speak to you. And sorry about the glitch at the start with computer that crashed. But thanks again. It was really nice to chat.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Super. Have a wonderful day.
Bye.